I'm Mark Callion, Mr. Saltwater Tank, coming to you on behalf of SaltwaterAquarium.com. Getting water from your sump into your display tank. There's one way that water's going to get there, and that way is plumbing. And there's two ways to plumb your tank. The soft way and the hard way. This show is about the soft plumbing way. Soft plumbing uses flexible tubing to connect pieces of your plumbing design. The tubing is usually made of silicone or vinyl. Soft plumbing is quick and easy as tubing is cut to length and then connected between fittings. While it's faster than hard plumbing, tubing can kink and impede water flow. Tubing can also pop off fittings, and vinyl tubing can crack as it ages. Flexible PVC tubing also exists, and note that you need to glue the PVC tubing into fittings. It's not as straightforward as other soft plumbing types, so I'm not going to cover it in this video. That being said, let's look at soft plumbing the Mega Matrix 120, as well as my pro tips to help you avoid soft plumbing disasters. Vinyl tubing and silicone tubing both work well for plumbing your saltwater tank. Now, braided nylon tubing works as well, but it's harder to work with, so I avoid it. Now, vinyl tubing is stiffer and is less prone to kinking like silicone tubing. That being said, silicone tubing is still useful. I'll get to that in a minute. Now, both of these types of tubings get pushed over barb fittings like this one in order to make connections. You have to size the barb fitting to the size of the tubing, so in this case, we're using 1-inch tubing, so we use a 1-inch barb fitting. Pro tip. No matter what type of tubing you use, pushing the tube all the way onto the barb so that it bottoms down against the back side of the fitting is a good idea. Since vinyl tubing is stiffer, heating the end with a heat gun or hair dryer makes the tube more pliable and easier to push onto the barb. Here's where silicone tubing wins big. It's more flexible, so you don't have to heat it to get it to bottom out on the barb. If you can't get the hose all the way on the barb, putting some water or a portion of lubricant on the barb will help it slide on easier. A little personal lubricant never hurt anyone. Or any reef tank. Pro tip. Adding a hose clamp will add more protection to your soft plumbing. Even if the tubing bottoms out on the barb, I still recommend using a hose clamp. Metal hose clamps work fine, and in time they're going to rust unless you use the titanium hose clamps. Plastic alligator clamps work great around reef tanks and for underwater connections. Note that you don't have to crank these all the way down. Just make a solid connection and you're set. Here's how I would plumb the Mega Matrix 120 with soft plumbing. First, the Seashea Synchro 7.0 return pump is set up for soft plumbing by threading in the barb fitting that's supplied with the pump. The Tide Line sump on the Mega Matrix 120 includes barb fittings which can be glued or simply siliconed onto the sump. Next, each 1-inch drain line gets its own 1-inch vinyl tube. I use vinyl instead of silicone here as vinyl is less prone to kinking. Note that the tubing is bottomed down on the barb. Hose clamps should be added to further secure the connection. On the return line side of the plumbing equation, the line coming from the Seashea return pump is routed through a supplied barb T fitting. One side of the T goes to one of the return lines and the other side continues to the remaining return line. Note that I did not bottom out the connections here to show you the dangers of leaving tubing only partially pushed onto the barb. Soft plumbing connections left like this are prone to popping off and should not be trusted. While my personal tastes are for hard plumbing, soft plumbing is a viable solution for plumbing your saltwater tank. It's fast, it's easy to work with, and if you go the soft plumbing route, don't forget the clamps. I'm Mark Callion, Mr. Saltwater Tank, coming to you on behalf of SaltwaterAquarium.com. I'll catch you in the next episode.